Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the Supremely Enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya. May my homage be to my teacher, to our Lokaswamin Vahansa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear devotees means the young adults and the children. So far, we have learned 4 similes from the Karanapali Sutta, how Pingiyani explains the satisfaction you get after hearing the Buddha's teachings, how a person gets satisfied, how a person get a relief, happiness, the mental happiness, the joy, and then how a person is well protected through the Buddha's teachings. He explains from similes. So the 4th simile is, he is telling, my friend, suppose there was a lotus pond with clear, sweet, cool water and smooth banks. With smooth banks, then along comes a person struggling in the heat. Weary and thirsty, he'd plunge into the lotus pond to bathe and drink. And all their stress, weariness, and heat, exhaustion would die down. In the same way, now imagine you are exhausted, tired, and then sweating, and very stressful, and then you are tired because of heat. Then imagine when you plunge into water, when you jump to water, how would you feel? You will feel very cool and comfortable. Then here Pingiyani says, you would gain happiness, and heat, exhaustion would die down. Then Pingiyani says, in the same way, when you hear the Supreme Buddha's teachings by suttas with stanzas, suttas without stanzas, or remarkable stories, then with the deep Dhamma, then all your stress, weariness, bodily and mental exhaustion would die down. The tiredness of dissatisfaction towards sensual pleasures will fade away. What? This is very important for our life. The tiredness of dissatisfaction towards sensual pleasures would fade away. Now, what is this? What's the last thing that will fade away? Now, because of these beautiful things, because of these beautiful things that we hear and smell and taste, the wonderful things, the pleasant things we experience through these 6 sense faculties, when we see and when we hear, a thirst arises, a need arises. There will be a need to have them in our mind. Then we will struggle, we will get tired to get those things. We will search, we will investigate, and then we will judge. Then you will get attached. Then once we get these valuable things, which people consider as valuable, once we get those things, don't we struggle to protect them? We struggle to protect them. First we struggle to get them, then we struggle to protect them, and then once we try to struggle to protect these things, then why do we try to struggle to protect our belongings and valuable things? Because we do not like when other people take those belongings from us. Then when you try to struggle to protect our belongings, what happens next? Then we will fight with others, we will quarrel with others, we will shout at others, we will argue with others, we will argue with others. All these disputes will arise. Starting from what? This mind likes to experience pleasant things. The mind goes behind, chase after beautiful things. So, then this tiredness of dissatisfaction. Now the problem is how much. Now today we see someone beautiful. The next day when we see someone more beautiful, we get attached to that person. Same together, same with food, same with clothes. Now see, like when it comes to fashion designing, the dress that you wore in the last year, will you wear it this year, in this year? No. Why? Out of fashion. Now, because of this dissatisfaction, because of this being unsatisfied with these sensual pleasures, what happened to people? They earn again and again. They fight again and again. They quarrel again and again. And then they work hard again and again for sensual pleasures to get something for their life for a short period, maybe for 70 years, maybe for 10 years. But then those arguments, the bad karma that people accumulate by those arguments and disputes will last long, will remain for eons. What do you think about that joy? So now we should become mindful. We are learning this Dhamma. Some of you all would have learned this Dhamma for 10 years, 11 years, but they're still waking up at 9 a.m. I don't know from which side, from which direction they have learned Dhamma. From what kind of ears they have learned Dhamma. So there are various ways to learn Dhamma. One way can be like pouring water to a pot where there's a hole underneath, where there's a hole in a pot. When you pour water to a pot which has a hole, water will not remain. So, or else the pot could be turned upside down. Then water will not get accumulated, the pot will not get filled. So in that way, nothing will go to the mind. Then very rarely some water will get accumulated when the pot is nicely placed on the right side. So pouring is done properly, but then holding the pot properly to accumulate that water is not done. So we should recognize our drawbacks and find solutions. So the last simile, Pingiyani says, just like a man who is exhausted, tired, jumping to a pond to swim and then to bathe himself and drink water. In the same way, through the Buddha's teachings, a person will get satisfied with the Dhamma. The unsatisfaction towards the sensual pleasures will be abandoned. Why? He will understand how beautiful things are, how valuable things are. Those things are, end of the day, impermanent. So I should be happy with what I have. People will start practicing contentment. So through the help of the Buddha's teachings, what happens when a person, he will overcome his dissatisfaction towards sensual pleasures by practicing contentment. So in sensual pleasures, when it comes to sensual pleasures, these beautiful forms, sounds, and pleasant smells, taste and feelings and pleasant thoughts, we should consider three things, that is the gratification, danger and escape. Usually people only consider the gratification. That's why people get engulfed in the gratification, and later they panic, and some people commit suicide, and they fight for their belongings, and some people get mentally ill because of sensual pleasures. When they lose sensual pleasures, they get a stroke. Then people die because of high blood pressure. So see, all because of sensual pleasures. And craving, Buddha said craving is something like a man following us with a sword to slaughter us. So we should understand that we are living with craving. Craving is like a stream of water, like floods of streams. It's always flowing. Craving is flowing in our mind. We are living with craving. If we die with craving, again we are born with craving. Therefore, dear Dhamma friends, for us to be mindful, we should understand the drawbacks in the life, and then correct our mistakes through the Buddha's teachings. Then when you learn the Buddha's teachings continuously, you will also understand how true these similes are, which was said by Pingiyani Brahmin. Then after hearing this, the Brahmin Karanapali stood up from his seat. He was seated when he heard all these teachings from Pingiyani. He arranged his robe over one shoulder. He bowed down towards the Blessed One's direction with his palms joined, and he exclaimed. He kept his palms together and kept on the top of the forehead, and he said, Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Like that he said 3 times after hearing this sermon. He said like this, "Oh friend Pingiyani, it's extremely beautiful. Oh friend Pingiyani, it's extremely beautiful. Just as a man were to set upright that was overturned, to reveal what was hidden, to show the way to one who was lost, or to carry a lamp into the dark so that those with eyes could see forms. In the same way, the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by my friend Pingiyani. I go for refuge to the Blessed One, to the Dhamma, and to the community of wonderful monks. Oh friend Pingiyani, from today onwards may I be accepted as a disciple who has wholeheartedly gone for refuge to the Noble Triple Gems." See how a person becomes a Buddhist. See how a person truly becomes a Buddha's disciple. Did we went for refuge to Buddha Dhamma Sangha? After learning Dhamma, did we come up with such ideas? What did he say? Oh friend Pingyan, it's extremely beautiful. Just as a man were to set upright that was overturned, you reveal what was hidden. You reveal what is hidden, dear Dhamma friends. What is hidden? What was overturned? What was overturned? What was overturned? What was hidden? What was hidden? The 4 noble truths were hidden in this world. Only when a Buddha appears in this world, the 4 noble truths are well explained. It's like this, dear Dhamma friends. Imagine when there is the appearance of sun and moon, what happens? When the sun and moon appears in the world, what happens? Tell me. Think for like few seconds and think what happens next. When the sun and moon appears in the world. Okay, imagine there's no sun and moon in this world. Then what happens? There'll be a great darkness in this world. There's a mass of darkness in this world. When there is darkness, when there is no light, darkness remains. Then can we assign days? Can we assign nights? Can we assign daytime, nighttime? No. Then if we can't assign daytime and nighttime, can we assign a day? No. Then if you can't assign a day, can you assign weeks? No. If you can't assign weeks, can you assign months? No. If you can't assign months, can you assign years? No. If you can't assign months, can you assign seasons? No. If you can't assign seasons, can you assign years? No. No calendars. Then when the sun and the moon appears in the world, when the sun and moon appear in the world, What's the next thing we get? We get the great light from the sun and the moon. The world will be illuminated by that light. In the same way, when the Buddha appears, the great light appears to this world, the light of wisdom, the Four Noble Truths that teach us about suffering, that teach us how suffering arises, that teach us how suffering get abandoned and to achieve Nibbana, and the path to achieve Nibbana. It's like this, when the great light is emitted from the sun and the moon, what happens? Then you can assign the days, nights. You can assign days, then weeks, then months, then seasons and years. In the same way, you can recognize, the Buddha uplifts the Dhamma. The Buddha describes the Dhamma. When the Buddha's teachings are widely spoken, then you will learn the Four Noble Truths. Then you will understand the purpose of living, what we have been doing so far in our life, and what we should do in our life in the future. What should be our goals? What kind of goals we should develop in our life? What should be the main purpose of living our human life? What should be our priority? What are the most important things we should do? What were the things that were hidden? The merit were hidden. We didn't know about wholesome deeds. We didn't know about mindfulness. We didn't know that lust, anger and delusion is in our mind. We thought we get angry because of others. We didn't know about other worlds. Some people thought that the hell and the divine world are both in the human world. We saw animals, but we never realized that even we could become animals. We love to have pets, then we see animals, we delight in animals, we talk good about animals, and then we dress them, we care them, we take good care of animals. But then, did we ever realize that we could also become animals? It was human beings in past lives became animals. We heard about ghosts. We hear about ghosts. We hear about demons. We hear true stories, how people get haunted. But did we ever realize and understand that even we could become demons? It was human beings who became demons. No, those things were hidden. So, to reveal what was hidden, to set upright what was overturned, that was done by the Buddha's teachings. To show the way to one who was lost. People don't know what to do for the sake of happiness. People take alcohol and drugs. People engage in sexual misconduct. People steal. People gamble. Wish for the harm of another person. They deceive others. People break the harmony of others and they try to gain happiness. Earn money in evil ways, earn money in wrong ways, wrong livelihood. All those things, why people do those things. Then, to show the way to one who was lost, some people, for the sake of gaining happiness, they give pain to their body. For the sake of attaining Nibbana, people give pain to body. People follow wrong rites and rituals. Then, people follow wrong practices. Now see, during the Supreme Buddha's time, there was one monk. There was an ascetic. He stood from one leg. He used to stand from one leg. He don't stand from two legs, from both legs. Why? That was ascetic practice, just to stand from one leg. And then that was his ascetic practice. So people were so amazed of him. And then when people bring food for him, he don't eat. He just take a small piece of grass, a grass leaf, and then touch the food and then lick that food. And then he says, okay, may you be well and happy. Then people rejoice, saying sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And then they go back. But this ascetic, slowly in the night time, he goes to the toilets and he eats excrement. because of a bad karma in a past life, in this life, he delights in excrement, eating excrement. Haven't you seen people eating from dustbins? Haven't you seen people eating garbage? Haven't you seen pigs eating excrement? Pigs, dogs eating excrement. Happily they eat that. Happily they eat that. Bad karma. The taste is excrement taste. Now that ascetic, he followed that ascetic practice. He thought that would lead him to happiness. Luckily he met the Buddha. For a person who was lost on his way, he was shown the right way. That is the Noble Eightfold Path. Later even that ascetic became an arahant. Now are we standing on a single leg? No. We are learning Dhamma. We were born Buddhists. We have so much guidance from the parents, from monks. Still, if we don't practice this Dhamma wholeheartedly, remember, keep this in mind, meeting a Buddha is a rare opportunity. Birth as a human being is also a rare opportunity. Even if we are born as human beings, even if we have met the Buddha's teachings, we have met monks. Now see, during this pandemic, almost 5 months now, people are unable to offer dana. People are unable to get together and learn Dhamma. Some people haven't seen a monk face to face, in person, in real, for more than 5 months. Some people, just because of not meeting monks, they have declined in qualities. Asevana cha balanang panditanang cha sevana. So when you don't meet monks, whom you will associate more? Asevana cha balanang. Don't associate fools. When you don't associate wise people, who will remain to associate? Unwise people. So who is more in this world? Wise people or unwise people? Unwise people. Now see the danger. See how people get trapped. But associating unwise people do it joyfully. It's easy. But when problem comes to their life, they will have no way to run, to escape. That's why Buddha said, when you do unwholesome deeds, even if you go to the middle of the ocean, even if you go to a cave, even if you go to the space, even if you go to a top of a mountain, from the bad karma, we can't escape. So let's not do bad karma. Let's take these teachings to our minds. Just like this Karanapali praised the Buddha's teachings, how he praised. It says, "Oh, to carry a lamp into darkness so that those with eyes could see forms." Now, imagine someone who was blind, all of a sudden, after surgery, a person who has never seen the world before, he gets to see the world. How would he feel? In the same way, for the people who did not know about wholesome deeds, they get to hear about wholesome deeds. They get to learn about Asubha meditation. They get to learn about impermanence meditation. They get to learn about breathing meditation to still their thoughts in the mind. Asubha meditation to overcome lust. Now see, when people are unable to control their lust, what happens? No limits in their life. They can't control their desires in the mind. They can't control the thoughts. They end up abusing others. They end up engaging in sexual misconduct. Their good families get split. Break the other people's beautiful lives because of lust. So through the Buddha's teachings, we learn about Asubha meditation. We learn about impermanence meditation. We then about death. Then we won't be thinking that we will only die at the age of 8 years or 9 years. We will know that death is unpredictable. Death could happen anytime. While eating, while breathing, while walking, while sleeping, anytime. In the morning, death can happen. In the afternoon, death can happen. In the night, death can happen. So through the Buddha's teachings, Buddha made us ready for our death. with wholesome deeds. So when we know that death can happen anytime, as it could happen at any time, we would be ready with wholesome deeds. Buddha taught us about death very clearly. It's like what? Giving eyes, lighting a lamp for ones who are living in darkness. Isn't it, dear Dhamma friends? How joyful it is to hear these wonderful teachings. With so much joy and compassion, we teach this Dhamma because our teacher Loku Swamin Wahanse taught this Dhamma for us in a simple way. And I should also be thankful and share merit with Lakshadua. So what I do, I take the singular translation of Loku Swamin Wahanse and I read it loud for her in English, and then she translates that in a very simple way for y'all. Then only we preach. So she's just 13 years old. I think 90% of my sermons are translated by Lakshadua. Then I correct it and then I preach. Sometimes I don't even check. Only when I go to the table I see the sermon. So may Lakshadua be well and happy. May she be well and happy. May she have long life. So then it says, in the same way the Dhamma has been made clear in many ways by my friend Pingiyani. I go for refuge to the Blessed One, to the Dhamma, and to the community of monks, O my friend Pingiyani, O friend Pingiyani. From today onwards, may I be accepted as a disciple who has wholeheartedly gone for refuge to the noble triple gems. May you accept me as a noble disciple. So may you also have the courage. May you also have the courage and the effort to say these wonderful verses. End of the day, before you go to sleep, go to the Buddha statue and tell the Buddha, Blessed One, just as a man were to set upright what was overturned, you showed us the Dhamma in clear ways. Say these things. Blessed One, reveal what was hidden for us. Blessed One showed the way who was lost without knowing what to do in life. Blessed One, reveal what was hidden. Tell these verses. Go to the Buddha statue and tell these verses and go to sleep. Venerate the Blessed One by telling these verses. Venerate Arahant Mahakassapa by telling these verses for protecting the Buddha's teachings. Declaring the teachings as the Buddha's teachings by the 500 Arahants. And we should venerate Arahant Ananda by telling these wonderful verses, this way of praising the Buddha's teachings. For Venerable Ananda, for memorizing this Dhamma. And also let's venerate Arahant Mahinda for bringing Buddhism to Sri Lanka and to spread it, and to spread the Buddha's teachings to the whole world. So today, may all of us start developing an unshakable confidence towards Buddha Dhamma Sangha and realize the Four Noble Truths in this Gautama Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo Buddhaya.